Hello, everyone, and welcome to Great Convos, where we always say, whether you agree or disagree, you can always find Great Convos. I am Roger Caesar, and this gentleman here.
Hi, I'm Alexandre Matt. Roger, we are at the end of the Toastmasters International 100th year celebration convention in Anaheim, California, United States. How are you feeling?
Absolutely thrilled to have been here, to have witnessed all the pageantry that was in this convention. I think that one of the things I will say about Toastmasters International is they put on an amazing show. So much things happened here. It was phenomenal. How about yourself?
Yeah, so much happened that I missed some of it because there was so much. And some sessions I missed while I was out just networking. Yeah. This is a great venue, by the way, the Marriott Bonvoy by the Convention Center. Mm-hmm. So I missed some events, but I think I gained other things, including friends and contacts.
Yes.
And by the way, these individuals, there are about 1,500 or more of them. They're also friendly and kind. I got some gifts. Some souvenirs from all over the world, people coming from different countries, bringing a part of where they are and living it with us.
Yes.
Very, very interesting.
You know what's crazy, Alex, and we talked about this even before we got here, the fact that here we are, two champions that won on the online system, and to come on the online platform, and to come here and to be recognized by so many people. Yeah. Wasn't that crazy as well? People who we have met throughout the last few years, coming over, so surprised to finally meet us in person. And on that note,
I got some
isn't that funny when you meet someone for the first time? I met a good friend of mine, Isidro, who was in the finals with me in 2021. He's from Portugal. I had never met him before, and then to finally meet him face to face, he was actually a little taller than I expected, right? So you get that moment where you look at people and say, oh, I seen you on camera. I didn't know you looked like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whether good or bad.
We know what the face and the shoulders look like, but
that's
the
rest.
Right. Yeah, and there was another one, Angeli Raven Fitch, who came over to us as we were just talking, and she said, oh, I listen to you guys all the time. I'm so happy to see you. And then later on, we found out she was a semi-finalist.
Yes.
For the World Championship, and eventually a finalist, and became the
third place
winner of the World Championship.
Yeah, we had one again, these are those moments that we had here when we first came here, walking to the hotel, bumped into this wonderful woman, and she said, oh, I've seen you before. I know who you are. So I explained who I am, and she said, yes, and I watch your show. Now, her name is Etta, and she was in the finals too, a semi-finalist as well. Again, didn't know it, but this is the friendly atmosphere that was here. Everybody, the camaraderie, the joy, the excitement of being at this historical event, everybody was really, really friendly. I don't think I met anybody that, well, I had to pull some people off of you because they were really, no, I'm joking.
Now, there were parts of the convention that are highlights. One, for me, the highlight is the World Championship of Public Speaking.
Of course.
For you too?
Of course,
yeah,
yes,
we love that.
Definitely.
As past competitors, and maybe future contestants as well. People ask us sometimes.
They did. A lot of people asked us if we are going to go back.
Let's answer this question right now in case the question comes in. Are you competing again?
Well, I think we both said that we didn't close the door. One of the things that we both agreed with, and I thought that was very admirable on both of our parts, was we wanted other people to have a chance to experience this. We're both from the same district, and the idea of allowing others to experience this, we've been doing it for a long time, but we haven't closed the door.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have not closed the door. The door is open, right?
But Roger, I mean, it sounds like well, we're not competing so that other people can have a chance. No, we can still compete and let 30,000 people compete.
I think you misunderstood what I'm saying. In our district, you and I have taken the time to help others in the competitions. It doesn't mean that we can't compete. I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is I have a sense of joy knowing that I have helped out others who have competed in this contest, who have never had an opportunity to feel what it feels like to go up into the ranks of this contest.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
There you go.
Now,
always trying to get controversial, isn't it?
I'm trying to.
You try to be controversial. And on that subject, we did talk about it, but when we had our conversation before we left to come here, we were talking about controversial speeches. And we also discussed a few of them that we saw here.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, if you want to have more details on what we discussed, you can find on either YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. Scroll down and you'll see videos that we had as reactions to the semifinals and to the World Championship. Should we just go over a few of these topics?
Yeah, just a few of them. I mean, we can touch on some of the ones that we saw. I remember there was a gentleman, Trammell, I believe his name was, and he talked about being in foster homes when he was very young and how he was treated by the foster parents.
Right.
In his case, and I don't want to say this as a blanket over everyone, but in his case, he was told to be quiet, stop crying.
And worse things that are really difficult to take in, right, as an audience member. That was in semifinal 1.
That was in semifinal 1.
In semifinal 2, we had Hannah Cheng, who took on the subject of sexual aggression.
Right.
And actually made us laugh while she did it. But it was clear that it was not funny.
Right.
So making us laugh about something that's serious while making us understand that she's not making light of it. I think she did it with extreme doigté. It was very, very well done how she did it.
So class.
Class, yeah, that's good. Doigté. The word doigté comes from fingers, so she did it like very fingerly.
Dainty. I'm trying to help our audience. You're throwing out French. Sometimes they're going to wonder what it is that you're saying, so I'm helping you out. I'm trying to help you.
With class, I liked it.
With class, right? Yeah. And so we had some of these in the semifinals. I'm trying to remember in semifinals number 4 if we had anything. I don't think there was anything in semifinals number 4. Now in number 3, was there other ones as well that you could say?
In semifinal 3, we had...
Or 2.
So semifinal 2, that was Hannah.
That was Hannah in number 2.
And in semifinal 4, we had Colin Williams. So, by the way, Hannah became a finalist, and Colin Williams also became a finalist for the second time. And Colin did approach some tough subjects, and his speech title was...
Mark Williams.
Oh, sorry.
Mark Williams.
I said...
Sorry, Mark Williams.
What did I say?
Colin Williams.
Right. They had Colin Williams in one semifinal and Mark Williams in the other. Oh, yeah. And Mark Williams was in semifinal 2 as well. But his speech title was, you remember?
Your mama?
Your mama.
Your mama.
Your mama. So there's some insults there, but there's also some fighting going on and a little bit of violence during the speech. But again, doigté.
Doigté. Doigté. Okay. This is what we were looking for, to see if we were going to get some of these controversial speeches. Now, Hannah moved on and went to the finals and placed second overall. So shout out to Hannah, shout out to Angelique. Both of them second and third respectively, did a fantastic job in the finals. But the finals had some controversy as well.
Yes. Now, before going into the big controversy or the upsetting event that happened, let's also mention Luisa Montalvo, the new champion of world speaking. Bravo, Luisa. Now, Luisa from Texas.
South Texas.
That's even better. She did have she did mention a topic that we sometimes would find controversial.
Yes,
especially in Toastmasters circles. We will say, don't talk about it, don't talk about it. And what was it?
It was religion.
Religion.
She brought up religion.
And God.
Yes, she did.
So now we've had, I remember last year, one of the finalists did talk about God, and I'm not sure if she mentioned by name Jesus, but it was very clear, very overt. And if that's part of her message, go ahead. However, we must, when we're speaking, we must consider the audience and where they are and what their beliefs are generally, or how they might perceive something. And Louisa did it with extreme dualité.
Dualité. I'm going to get the word.
So she mentioned, then this is how I might have spoken with my God. And then she says, and I don't want, and I'm just I'll say it this way. She said it that she doesn't want to offend anybody. That's why she says my God instead of just God.
But then she turned around really quickly and said, "But I want to offend everybody."
And that got a huge laugh. It might have been risky.
It was risky. Yeah. It was absolutely risky, but it worked. It worked.
And sometimes you have to imagine or think, is the reward that I get from this risk worth it?
Right.
And I think it was really worth it.
Yeah.
Congratulations again, Louisa, for your dualité. It's the word of the day.
It is the word of the day, dualité. But
so,
again,
controversy.
Yes, it was too much. Oh my goodness. You know, this was already a fabulous, from the semifinals, we even said that in the semifinals, that all 28, and I'm giving a shout out to all of you who made it to the semifinals, all 28 had an opportunity to walk away and be a champion here. It was that good when it came to the semifinals. So when you get to the finals and you have the elite, the best of the best, 8 competitors on that stage, you would have thought that after you've gone through all of this, that the last thing that we would see is disqualifications, and more importantly, on time.
Yeah, disqualifications due to time. So we have to have a speech that is between 5 minutes and 7 minutes, and there's a 30-second grace period. So someone could do 4 minutes and 30 seconds, although I've never seen that.
Never, no.
Or you could go up to 7 minutes and 30 seconds. As long as the clock doesn't change to 31, you're fine.
That's right.
But we had 2 disqualifications for time, which is like 3 or 4 seconds over that limit. Yeah.
So it's very disheartening.
It is, and you can hear it when just before they announce the final results, the contest chair mentions there were two disqualifications for time, and then you hear the audience. And everybody's like, "What? Who was it? Do you think it was that person?" And the contestants also. The contestants also.
And you know, that's like I said, I've been on that side. I remember when it happened to me. I went 2 seconds over. I was told by a Toastmaster at the time, this was very young in my journey as a Toastmaster. He said, "You have to remember that you are not an entertainer."
Right.
You are a Toastmaster. Entertainers live for that moment when you get in the laughter, when you're having the crowd behind you, and you soak that in.
And sometimes you can reflect back and even give more than, like, milk the moment.
Yes,
and even
exactly.
and make it longer than it should
be. And as a Toastmaster, you have to know how to silence it and move on.
Silence the urge of milking the moment.
And I think this is what happened here, especially with one of the contestants who was phenomenal.
Furzy, go to Wacko.
Yes.
Now, Furzy, this was his second time as a finalist. We shared the stage, so to say.
We having problems today again?
Yeah. Oh man, it's been a really busy week, and I haven't slept a lot. So to say, what was I saying? So to say.
You were talking about Furzy being on the same stage as
So we
you.
were on the same stage virtually, and then so he's back here on stage, and that makes a big difference with humor.
Yes.
A part of his speech that is absolutely hilarious, where people are falling over from their chairs, it is so funny.
Literally and figuratively, because of the way he was.
That's right. Because go see that speech.
You have to see the speech.
You can put your hands on it.
Yeah,
it's absolutely like he's like lying on his back on the chair with his feet up. So it's very funny, and this is the type of humor that is doubly funny because it's tragic. He's describing a difficult situation, but he can laugh about it now, and so can we. And he gave us the permission to laugh so much that might have been, well, that certainly made the difference.
It did, and again, going back to being online, we all were online. He could have done that online and mentally stopped it because there's nobody there.
There's nobody there, and even if people were laughing, he would not have heard them, so he might have stepped on their laughter. I mean, I think that online either would not have been as funny, or we would have missed what he was saying because we were laughing so hard. So he wouldn't have heard us in that format that we had, the hybrid format. So he might have talked over the laughter, and maybe we would not have heard some of his key lines. Although I suspect that if he was online, he would have changed his approach.
Well, I still believe that he would have gained laughter on the online platform as well from that if he had done it. The great thing about that would have been he wouldn't have heard, as you said, the laughter, so he could have continued. The bad thing is we maybe would not have heard it, as you said.
But we would have stifled our laughter because we think, he's going to say something else. So we won't.
That's right.
Which means that when you're online, it's obviously not a great experience compared to being in person.
But again, he to go back to it, he went over, and there was another person that did the same thing. Just when you get to this point, and I can't stress that enough, when you get to this point, the World Championship of Public Speaking, those things, especially when it comes to time, should be. You should know what you're doing. It should be ingrained in you. You should have that internal clock, so to speak. And we had a conversation last night, right, about this.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that.
There is the internal clock. There's also an external clock. And by the way, my coach, Mark Hunter, 2009 World Champion of Public Speaking, when I was competing, he was so strict with me about the time. And I'm like, I'm going to 7 minutes and 15, so I've got 15 seconds of grace. And he's like, no. You've got to cut it down to 7 minutes. And he said, if you go overtime, you will have tire marks on your back. To clarify, he goes around in a wheelchair. He's in a wheelchair, so he was going to run me over if I went overtime. So I made sure, at least for Mark, not to go overtime. And I can say in 2022,
but you came very close.
I came very close. In my semifinal, I think I did 7 minutes and 28 or 26 seconds, something like that. And I did not, because of the online component and technical problems, I didn't see the red light. I realized at one point it wasn't changing colors. Luckily, I had turned on a chronometer, timer. So I saw a digital clock, and I saw the seconds go up, and so I knew, okay, I think I'm very close because I had started my speech when my clock was at 47 seconds. I didn't want to do this as I started my speech, so I had started in advance. So if you see my speech, I'm glancing down a couple of times at the end just to see where I am.
Right.
So because I knew I was going to cut it close, I cut out, as I was speaking, one key line.
Right.
And I was probably thinking of Mark at the same time. I didn't want tire marks on my back. So I thought, all right, I'm going to sacrifice this line just not to go overtime.
Well, at least for me, Craig wasn't that bad. Craig, the 1999 World Champion of Public Speaking, was my coach, and I didn't have any of those issues of tire marks or any of those situations. He probably would have killed me anyway, same way, if I had went over. And Catherine McKenzie as well. Shout out to both of them. But what I will say is simply this. I feel that you have to be more disciplined. Yeah. When you get to this stage, you should be disciplined. And we had this conversation about whether Toastmasters should introduce a digital clock. I don't agree with it. I think that you have to have
the internal clock.
The internal clock. You have to have the discipline to know, hey, green light, 5 minutes, yellow light, 6 minutes, 7. and craft your speech accordingly. Right? There's two things I want to say with this. When you get on this stage, number one, you have to account for the possibility of people laughing, people in the emotional part that might come with your speech. So you have to account for that. And number two, there is an element of fear that when we are speaking and we are nervous, we speak a little faster, right? And that happens as well. But if you have the time in your speech, so usually around 6:45, 6:50, if your speech ends there, that gives you that time for number one, the laughter, number two, pauses, proper pauses.
Yeah, for reactions, like silent reactions, not only for the laughter.
Exactly, right? The emotional side of it as well. So I don't agree with wanting or bringing in.
We didn't go really far in that idea. So the idea that was thrown out by, let's do a shout out, by J.A. Gamache.
Yes, hello.
4-time world finalist and third place in the world in 2001. His idea is to have a digital clock that would be close to the stage so we can see either a countdown or a count up exactly how long our speech has been. And this would help eliminate the disqualifications for time. Because if I see I'm at 7 minutes 25 seconds, no matter what I'm saying, I'll finish my sentence and finish my speech so that I don't go over time. And then at least without being disqualified, my speech might not be as good because I didn't get to finish it. But at least I would be a contender. At least I could be correctly judged.
Why do we have to do that, though?
We don't have to do that.
No, but I'm saying, but hold on a second. I mean, we're babying each other when it comes to this, in my opinion.
I don't know.
I feel like this is how it's been, and again, I know that things are made to be, changed over time.
But this is how it's been always.
And I don't want to say it like that. I was going to go there, but I don't want to say it. I'm trying to rephrase it. But I'm saying this is a part of the discipline.
Right.
It's a part of the discipline, right? When you're at work, same thing. It's a part of the discipline to know, hey, I've got 7 minutes and 30 seconds to deliver this speech. I must do it.
Right. And we could give some tips and tricks on how to have that discipline and prepare or practice your internal clock. But I don't think it's babying each other. This is what happens in
I'm so
radio.
Sorry if I say it that way, and somebody's going to get upset and say, "Oh, that's wrong." But the reality is, I still do believe that it's not.
Let me finish. In television, in radio, and in other speaking events like the TED Talks, there's a clock. It's 18 minutes, and you have to stop at 18 minutes. So, and it is a clock. So it's not amateurish to have that clock. In fact, the first time that I had some speaking events or opportunities, and there was a clock, I found it weird and new, and I thought, oh, this is, it's like a new skill to have, because I thought I was so concentrated on the numbers going up that I was not really in the moment. So it would be another type of discipline.
I still think that we need to understand that this comes with the contest. It comes with it. It's a part of the contest that we have here, and you have to just account for that.
So,
creating it.
So, in other words, if we certainly this won't change. Just this idea that is here, it won't change the way that we do the contest all over the world. However, if we want to have fewer disqualifications, and we still have only the timing lights, we must have strategies that we could discuss on another
most definitely.
day.
And listen, if you, so shout out to all of our loyal listeners, put the comments in the chat and tell us how you feel. Do you feel that it should stay this way, or
either
a way in which they could alter it a bit?
Alter it?
Yeah.
Alter it. Oh, those were two words.
Yes,
alter it.
It's alter it.
Yes. I thought it was alter it. I'm making up a word. Well, here's another idea. In other speech contests, instead of having total disqualification when you go overtime, you got points
taken off.
deducted.
Yes, yes.
And so
now,
that
there
would
we
be
go.
something to do.
Okay.
As well.
So we could agree on that. There could be something done in that sense, so that we don't completely disqualify them.
Yeah.
But maybe the point system says, hey, we're going to take off 3 or 4 points off of the total.
There needs to be a negative consequence to going overtime.
Yes.
But disqualification seems so harsh when you're 7 minutes 30, you can be the world champion, 7 minutes 31.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. And then we had another one, though. We did have something else that happened as well.
Aside from the
two
disqualifications for time. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about this?
Sure, let's discuss it.
We could discuss it real quick.
So during the ballot counting, the contest, so I think they were interviewing the contestants, and then we are interrupted, and the contest chair invites all the voting judges who normally have finished their job to leave the room and convene somewhere else. This usually means that there's been a protest due to originality.
Yeah. And I think we now know that there was one contestant who was disqualified based on originality. And again, a fine line that I say at this point in the competition, you have to be more disciplined to understand what the rules are, what you can, what you can't do, and how far you can take that.
Right.
And again, it goes back to the other competitors who said, hey, I'm going to take a chance, but they did it in a way that worked for them.
Right. So there are the real rules in the rule book that you must follow. For example, it must be substantially original. You must, the time is important, the speaking area. But then there are some unwritten rules that could be broken, such as you can't talk about that. You can't turn your back to the audience. Like all these little unwritten rules that can be broken. It's almost like learn everything really well of how it's supposed to be done. And then try different things.
Yeah.
Experiment.
And we've seen that. Yeah. We've seen that, right? We've seen rules that they said were not allowed to be broken in such a beautiful way that you had no choice but to enjoy the fact that they were creative.
That's right.
In how they did it.
Right.
Right?
One of those rules is do not eat in front of your audience. And during my final speech, I really wanted to have a bite of my no-bake cake. So the way that I did it was, at the end of my speech, I handed it over to the contest chair as I had a piece in my... Oh, there, I have one here. As I had a piece in my hand, I handed it over to the contest chair, and during the applause, I had a bite. Now you can applaud. It's good, eh?
I've had it a lot, so.
This was a fantastic experience, great week. I was handing out some of my no-bake cake, and Roger was all over the place with people orbiting around you. This was a...
Thank you.
That sounds bad, orbiting. You have your own orbit. Right. There's a better word, right? Circulating, maybe?
We had a lot of fun here. Overall, we had an amazing time. Thank you, Toastmasters International, for putting on a wonderful convention, historical convention. Shout out to all of the semifinalists this year. You did a fantastic job. And of course, the finalists.
And let's shout out to all of the board of directors.
All the directors, yes, of course.
Who have either finished their term or who have just been newly elected.
Correct. And all of the winners from all of the clubs and districts that took home some prizes, not prizes, but took home awards for their efforts over the past year. Congratulations to everyone. Well, Alex, last final thoughts before I close things off?
We will continue having these great conversations throughout the weeks. Please follow us. Hey, if you've got any ideas of topics that might be a little difficult to approach, we'll try to find a way to have a great convo about it. Roger?
Well, once again, we come to the end of Great Convos, live here in Anaheim, California, at the 100th anniversary of Toastmasters International.
Quick correction, we're not really live, we're on site
Oh, yes, I forgot. We are live. We're not
really
live
talking.
when we do this. That's right. That's right. We did not say that to them. Now you know.
We're going to put it at the beginning.
We'll put it at the beginning. Okay. So, anyways, let's put it this way. Thank you for joining us today. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with us, and we appreciate you. And as we always say when we leave, whether you agree or disagree, you can always find great convos. Take care, everyone.
See you later.
Hello, and welcome. Are we starting right now?
Yeah, I was just checking myself out before.
Welcome once again.
You have to start with silence before.
Why?
So that we've got the 2 seconds of grace.
Why didn't you
Because I was checking out my hair.
Well, that's your problem. That's not mine.
Okay. Are you ready?
So we're going to hold up for 2 seconds?
Yeah.